High Admiral Elliot Clark rubbed his tired eyes as he studied the large holographic map floating in the command center. The blue glow lit up his weathered face, highlighting the worry lines that had deepened over the past few weeks. Something was wrong with the map, and he knew exactly what it was. "They've done it again," he said quietly. Lieutenant Kate Peterson looked up from her console. Her red hair was pulled back in a tight bun, and dark circles under her eyes showed she had been working as long as her commander. "Yes, sir. The Centauri changed their maps for the third time this month." Clark zoomed in on the edge of human space where it met the territory of the Centauri Alliance. The border had shifted again. Each time, the Alien Federation claimed a bit more of what humans considered neutral space. "Show me the previous versions," Clark ordered. Kate tapped her screen and 3 different border lines appeared on the map. The earliest line, marked in green, showed the border as it had been for 20 years. The second line, in yellow, showed how it changed 2 weeks ago. The newest line, in red, pushed even closer to human colony worlds. "They're getting bolder," Clark said. He pointed to a small star system near the new border. "That's the Vega colony. 3,000 human settlers. If the Centauri keep moving their line, Vega will be inside their territory by next month." Clark had served the United Earth Navy for 30 years. In all that time, he had never seen such a direct challenge to human space. The Centauri were known throughout the galaxy as master map makers. For thousands of years, their star charts were used by every spacefaring species. Their word on where borders lay was treated as fact. Until humans came along. "Get me Dr. Alan Wright," Clark said. "We need our best mind on this problem." Kate nodded and sent the message. Minutes later, the holographic display flickered and a new face appeared. Dr. Alan Wright looked like he had just woken up. His gray hair stuck out in all directions and he wore a simple white shirt with coffee stains. "Admiral Clark." "Right," said with a yawn. "What's so important at 4 in the morning?" "The Centauri moved their borders again," Clark said. He sent the map data to Wright's lab. "They're getting closer to our colonies." Wright's sleepy expression changed to one of concern. He pulled up the map on his end and studied it carefully. "This is more serious than I thought," he said. "They've never been this aggressive before." Dr. Wright was Earth's leading expert on star mapping and navigation. 10 years ago, he had created a new system that freed humans from depending on Centauri maps. His human star navigation network allowed Earth ships to chart their own course through space without asking permission from alien cartographers. The Centauri had not been pleased. "They've called for a meeting," Kate said, checking her messages. "The Centauri High Cartographer wants to meet with Earth representatives at Proxima Station in 3 days. Clark's eyebrows rose in surprise. The High Cartographer rarely left the Centauri homeworld. This person was like a living map, their brain filled with the location of every star, planet, and asteroid in known space. "They're sending their most important official," Clark said. "This is bigger than I thought." "I should be there," Wright said. "If they want to talk maps, you'll need me." Clark nodded in agreement. "My shuttle leaves in 6 hours. Meet me at the spaceport." As Wright's image disappeared, Kate approached with a data tablet. "Sir, there's something else you should see." The tablet showed images of small, round objects moving through space near the disputed border. They were hard to see, almost invisible to normal sensors. "What am I looking at?" Clark asked. "Centauri probe drones," Kate explained. "We found them inside our space beyond even their new borderline. They're gathering data, scanning our planets and outposts." Clark's face hardened. This was more than a map dispute. The Centauri were spying on human territory, perhaps planning something worse. "Tell no one about this," he ordered. "Not yet. Have Intelligence Officer Paul Martinez look into it while we're gone." 6 hours later, Clark's shuttle lifted off, from Earth. Through the window, he watched his blue home planet grow smaller. Space stretched out before him, vast and dark, filled with stars that belonged to everyone and no one. Dr. Wright sat across from him, working on a portable computer. The scientist had brought stacks of data drives containing all his research on human space mapping. Do you know why this is happening now? Clark asked. Wright looked up from his work. I have a theory. For 20,000 years, the Centauri defined how the galaxy was mapped. Every species used their charts, followed their borders. It gave them power, respect. He pulled up an image of a Centauri alien. They were tall and thin with blue skin that seemed to shimmer with light. Their 6 eyes could see parts of the light spectrum that humans could not. Then humans show up, Wright continued. We're new to space travel, but instead of using their maps like everyone else, we make our own. We define our own borders. We challenge their authority. Clark understood. We hurt their pride. More than that, Wright said. We threaten their place in the galaxy. Maps are everything to them. It's not just their job, it's their identity, their purpose. Imagine if someone suddenly said Earth wasn't the home of humans anymore. The shuttle journey took 2 days. Proxima Station hung in space near Alpha Centauri, the closest star system to Earth. It was a neutral meeting place, built by several species working together. As they docked, Clark received a message from Paul Martinez back on Earth. Sir, I've been tracking those Centauri probes, Martinez reported. They're not just mapping, they're scanning for resources, minerals, metals, water, and they're focusing on planets near human colonies. Clark frowned. They're looking for something specific. Keep digging, Paul. Find out what they want. The door of the station opened, and Clark got his first look at a Centauri high cartographer. Zexnall was taller than a human, with skin that seemed to glow from within. The alien wore a robe covered in tiny lights that moved like stars. Welcome, humans, Zexnall said, his translator changing clicks and whistles into English. We have much to discuss about where your space ends and ours begins. Clark and Wright exchanged a glance. This would not be an easy meeting. In a private room, Zexnall unrolled a large map made of some kind of living material. It glowed and shifted, showing star systems in amazing detail. For 20,000 cycles, we have kept the maps of known space, the Centauri said. All species follow our charts. All respect our measurements. Dr. Wright stepped forward. That was before humans reached the stars. We have our own maps, now, our own claims. The Centauri's 6 eyes blinked one after another, a sign of irritation. Your maps are new, flawed. They do not match the greater galactic record. They show human space accurately, Wright argued. And according to our maps, you're pushing into neutral territory. Zexnall made a sound like breaking glass, which the translator didn't convert. The border worlds have always been Centauri. Your presence there is temporary. Clark felt a chill at those words. Are you threatening Earth colonies? Not threatening, correcting an error. The alien pointed to specific stars on the living map. These systems belong to the Centauri Alliance. They always have. Your maps are wrong. As the argument continued, Clark received another message from Earth. Martinez had found something important. Sir, the Centauri need those border planets, Martinez reported. Their homeworld is running out of certain minerals they need for their technology. Those exact minerals are abundant in the disputed zone. Now Clark understood. This wasn't just about pride or maps. The Centauri were desperate. The meeting ended with no agreement. As Clark and Wright prepared to return to their shuttle, a station alarm sounded. On a nearby screen, they saw a Centauri fleet moving into position near the disputed zone. They're not just changing maps, Clark said grimly. They're getting ready to take what they want by force. The boundary dispute had just become much more dangerous. Dr. Alan Wright sat across from High Cartographer Zexnall in the main meeting room of Proxima Station. The blue-skinned alien's 6 eyes blinked in a slow pattern as he spread his living star map across the table. The map glowed with tiny lights that moved and shifted, showing stars and planets in amazing detail. Admiral Clark stood by the window, watching as more Centauri ships arrived outside the station. Their sleek, curved hulls reflected the light of the nearby star. He counted 12 warships now. For 20,000 cycles, the Centauri Cartographic Authority has kept the one true map of known space, Zexnall said. His translator turned his clicks and whistles into flat English words. All species use our charts. All follow our guidance. Wright leaned forward. That was before humans reached the stars, he said calmly. He activated his own map projector. A holographic display appeared above the table, showing the disputed border systems. We respect your history of mapping, but we've developed our own navigation systems now. The Centauri's skin flashed with patches of darker blue, a sign of strong emotion. His 6 eyes all focused on Wright at once. Your maps are new and flawed, Zexnol said. They do not match the greater record of the galaxy. Or maybe your maps are outdated, Wright suggested. The border systems have changed. New planets have been discovered. Star positions have shifted over time. Admiral Clark watched the exchange carefully. He knew this was more than just an argument about lines on a map. It was about power, identity, and survival. His communication device buzzed. It was a message from Paul Martinez back on Earth. Sir, I've discovered something important, Martinez wrote. The Centauri culture is completely built around their role as galactic mapmakers. Their entire history, religion, and social order depends on other species accepting their maps as the only truth. Human independent mapping is seen as a direct attack on their way of life. Clark looked at Zexnol with new understanding. No wonder. The alien was so upset. Humans weren't just drawing different borders, they were challenging the very purpose of Centauri existence. The meeting was not going well. Neither side would accept the other's maps. Zexnol insisted the border planets belonged to the Centauri, while Wright defended human claims to the neutral zone. As they argued, another message came from Earth. This time, it was from analyst Olivia Diaz, who specialized in alien cultures. The Centauri mapmakers believed they were chosen by the stars themselves to document the galaxy, she wrote. Their religion teaches that the first Centauri was given a map by the gods. Their highest social class is the cartographers. Zexnol is not just a diplomat, he's their spiritual leader. Clark shared this information with Wright during a short break. The scientist nodded thoughtfully. That explains why they won't compromise, Wright said. To them, this isn't just politics, it's a matter of faith. When they returned to the meeting room, Zexnol had added more details to his living map. Now it showed resource deposits on the disputed planets, highlighting rich areas of minerals and metals. These resources belong to the Centauri, the alien said firmly. Our maps have always shown these worlds as ours. But your people never settled these planets, Clark pointed out. They've been empty for thousands of years. Humans are just starting to explore them. Ownership does not require presence, Zexnol replied. It requires documentation. We documented these worlds, therefore they are ours. The argument went in circles for hours. As the day ended, both sides were frustrated and no closer to agreement. That night, Clark received an urgent call from Commander Greg Simmons, who led a small outpost near the disputed zone. Admiral, we're detecting unusual energy readings, Simmons reported. His face on the screen looked worried. A Centauri fleet is gathering just beyond our sensor range, at least 20 ships, maybe more. Clark's stomach tightened. Are they in attack formation? Not yet, Simmons said. But they're positioned exactly at the new border they've drawn on their maps. It's like they're creating a physical line in space. Keep watching them, Clark ordered. But don't do anything that might look aggressive. We need more time for diplomacy. The next morning, Wright had an idea. He asked for a private meeting with Clark before they met with Zexnol again. I've been studying Centauri culture all night, Wright explained. There's something called the Cartographer's Code, a set of rules they follow about mapping disputes. Clark looked interested. How does it work? When two Centauri disagree about a map, they hold a contest, Wright said. They each survey an unmapped area, and whoever creates the most accurate chart wins the dispute. So you want to challenge them to a mapping contest? Clark asked, raising an eyebrow. Wright nodded. It's their tradition. They can't refuse without losing face with other alien species. And it gives us a chance to prove ourselves. What area would we map? Wright pointed to a region on his holographic display. The Helios Nebula. It's in neutral space, unmapped because of strong radiation and dust clouds. Perfect test of both our technologies. When they proposed the contest to Zexnall, the alien's reaction was exactly as Wright had predicted. All six eyes widened, and his skin flashed with bright patterns of surprise. "You invoke the cartographer's code?" Zexnall asked. "No non-Centauri has ever done this. We respect your traditions," Wright said carefully, "and we believe this is the fairest way to resolve our dispute. Winner gets recognition of their border claims." The Centauri was quiet for a long moment. Clark worried they had made a mistake. By challenging an alien custom they didn't fully understand. Finally, Zexnall spoke. "The code cannot be refused when properly invoked. We accept your challenge, humans." As they worked out the details of the contest, another message arrived from Earth. This time it was from Olivia Diaz again, and her news was disturbing. "We've discovered why the Centauri suddenly need those border planets," she wrote. "Their homeworld is facing an environmental crisis. Key minerals they need for their technology are almost gone. Without new sources, their civilization will collapse within 10 years. Clark shared this information with Wright privately. "They're not just being stubborn," he said. "They're desperate." Wright frowned. "That makes them more dangerous. We need to find a solution that helps them survive without giving up human territory." Back on Earth, intelligence teams worked day and night to understand the full picture. They discovered that the Centauri had hidden their crisis from other species, afraid of appearing weak. Their aggressive map changes were a last attempt to claim resources before their shortages became public knowledge. Meanwhile, Commander Simmons reported that more Centauri ships had arrived at the border. "They're preparing for something big," he warned. "If these talks fail, they might simply take what they need by force." As both sides prepared ships for the mapping contest, Clark realized they were walking a dangerous line. If humans won, would the proud Centauri actually honor the agreement? And if they lost, would Earth give up its rightful territory? "This contest won't just test our mapping skills," he told Wright as they boarded a shuttle to inspect the human survey ship. "It will test whether our two species can find a peaceful way forward." The human survey vessel USS Pathfinder was being prepared for the challenge. Captain Diane Fuller welcomed them aboard with a crisp salute. "We've installed the latest scanning technology," she reported. "If there's anything to map in that nebula, we'll find it." As Clark watched technicians make final adjustments to the ship's sensors, he couldn't shake a feeling of unease. Something about this situation felt wrong, like they were all missing a bigger picture. "Be careful in there," he told Captain Fuller. "This is about more than just making a map." Fuller nodded seriously. "Don't worry, Admiral. We'll make Earth proud." What none of them knew was that the Helios Nebula held secrets neither humans nor Centauri had discovered. Secrets that would change everything they thought they knew about the galaxy and their place in it. The Helios Nebula spread across space like a colorful cloud. Reds, blues, and purples mixed together as gas and dust scattered starlight in all directions. It was beautiful, but also dangerous. Strong radiation and magnetic fields made it hard to navigate or map properly. Captain Diane Fuller stood on the bridge of the USS Pathfinder, watching the nebula grow larger on the main screen. Her crew worked quietly at their stations, preparing the ship's special sensors for the mapping challenge. "All systems ready, Captain," reported her first officer, Sam Reed. "We can begin scanning as soon as we enter the nebula." Fuller nodded. "The Centauri ship is already inside, let's not fall behind." The Centauri vessel, called the Eternal Registry, had entered the nebula 2 hours earlier. It was their flagship mapping ship, equipped with technology perfected over thousands of years. The humans were definitely the underdogs in this contest. "Starting adaptive scanning arrays," announced navigator Eric Wilson. His fingers moved quickly over his control panel. "The radiation is stronger than we expected. I'm adjusting our shields." Fuller watched as data began flowing into the ship's computers. The Pathfinder used Earth's newest scanning technology, designed by Dr. Wright's team. Unlike traditional sensors that could be blocked by the nebula's dust, these adaptive scanners changed frequency constantly to see through the interference. Back at Proxima Station, Admiral Clark and Dr. Wright monitored both ships' progress. The stakes were enormous. The winner of this mapping contest would have their border claims recognized officially. The Centauri are mapping the eastern section first, Wright observed, watching the alien ship's movement. Their traditional approach is to work from the outside in. Clark studied the readings. And our people are heading straight for the center. Riskier, but it might pay off. As they spoke, Intelligence Officer Paul Martinez entered the room with a data tablet. His face looked serious. "Sir, I've discovered something important," he said to Clark. "The Centauri resource crisis is worse than we thought. Their homeworld's core elements are nearly depleted. Without new sources, their life support systems will fail within 5 years, not 10. Clark frowned. "So this isn't just about maps or pride. It's about survival." "Yes, sir," Martinez agreed. "And there's more. The mineral they need most, xerelium, is extremely rare. The only significant deposits in this sector are in those disputed border planets." This news changed things. The Centauri weren't being greedy or aggressive. They were desperately trying to save their people. Inside the nebula, Captain Fuller was facing challenges. The Pathfinder's shields were holding, but the radiation was affecting their sensors. "I'm getting strange readings from the center of the nebula," Eric reported. "There's something there, but I can't tell what it is." Fuller moved to his station and looked at his screen. "Adjust scanner frequency. Let's get a better look." Eric made the changes, and suddenly the screen showed something unexpected, a dark shape hidden within the colorful gases. "Is that artificial?" Fuller asked, squinting at the image. Eric nodded slowly. "It looks like a structure, Captain. Something built, not natural." Fuller felt a chill run down her spine. If there was an artificial structure here, that meant someone or something had been in this nebula before. "Move us closer," she ordered, "but approach carefully. We don't know what we're dealing with." As the Pathfinder moved deeper into the nebula, the structure became clearer. It was enormous, a ring-shaped construction that spanned kilometers of space. It looked ancient, its surface covered with strange symbols and patterns. "Send this data to Proxima Station immediately," Fuller ordered. "Dr. Wright needs to see this." At the station, Wright's eyes widened as the images appeared on his screen. Incredible. This structure predates both human and Centauri space travel. It must be tens of thousands of years old. Clark leaned closer to the screen. "Can you tell what it is?" "Some kind of station or outpost," Wright guessed. "The design doesn't match any known species." The discovery changed everything about the mapping contest. Now both ships were focused on the ancient structure, scanning it from different angles. Surprisingly, the Centauri ship sent a message to the Pathfinder. "We propose cooperation in mapping this discovery," the message read. "Its importance transcends our dispute." Fuller was suspicious but agreed. Working together would be faster and safer than competing in this situation. The Centauri ship moved alongside the Pathfinder, and together they approached the ring structure. Up close, they could see that it was not just one ring but several, nested inside each other and rotating slowly. "Captain, I'm detecting energy readings," Eric reported excitedly. "This thing is still active after who knows how many thousands of years." Fuller made a decision. "Prepare a boarding team, we need to see what's inside." She selected a small team including Eric and 2 security officers. They would meet a similar team from the Centauri ship at the structure's apparent entrance. When Fuller's team arrived in their shuttle, they found the Centauri already waiting. High cartographer Zexnol himself had come to investigate. His blue skin glowed faintly in the dim light of the ancient doorway. "This discovery changes our perspective," Zexnol said through his translator. "Age before claim, history before politics." Fuller nodded in agreement. Together, the human and Centauri teams entered the structure. Inside, they found corridors that seemed to go on forever, curving with the shape of the rings. The walls were covered with markings that looked like star maps, incredibly detailed, charts of the galaxy. "These are navigation markers," Zexnol said, his 6 eyes blinking with excitement. "But they show star positions from 50,000 years ago." Eric used his scanner on one of the walls. "Captain, these aren't just decorations. Their data storage. These walls contain astronomical information. As they moved deeper into the structure, they reached a central chamber. In the middle stood a pedestal with crystal objects arranged in patterns. Data crystals, Zexnol whispered. The most pure form of information storage. When the Centauri touched one of the crystals, it lit up, projecting a three-dimensional map of the galaxy above them. The map showed star systems, planets, resource deposits, everything a spacefaring civilization would need to know. This is a map beyond anything we've created, Zexnol admitted. More detailed than even Centauri charts. The projected map highlighted certain regions in bright colors. To everyone's surprise, the disputed border planets were not marked as special or valuable. Instead, the map showed other regions, outside the contested zone, that contained the same rare minerals the Centauri needed. There, Eric pointed. That system isn't claimed by anyone, and according to this ancient map, it's rich with beryllium. Zexnol's skin flashed with patterns of surprise and hope. If this is correct, we would not need the border planets. We could mine these unclaimed systems instead. As they studied the ancient map, Fuller received an urgent message from Admiral Clark. Return to Proxima Station immediately. Long-range sensors have detected something approaching from beyond the galaxy's edge. Something massive. Fuller looked at Zexnol, who had received the same message from his people. Whatever is coming, the captain said. I think this ancient station was built to warn about it. Zexnol touched the crystal again and the map zoomed out to show space beyond the galaxy's edge. There, marked in red warning symbols, was a stream of objects heading toward the galaxy, toward human and Centauri space. The ancients who built this place, Zexnol said quietly, they knew this threat would return. As the human and Centauri teams hurried back to their ships, they realized their border dispute now seemed small and unimportant. Something was coming from intergalactic space, something that had concerned a civilization advanced enough to build this massive warning station. And whatever it was, it would arrive soon. An emergency meeting was called at Proxima Station. Representatives from all major space powers gathered in the main hall, their faces showing worry and fear. Long-range sensors had confirmed what the ancient station in the Helios Nebula had warned about. Something massive was approaching from beyond the galaxy. Admiral Clark stood at the front of the room next to High Cartographer Zexnol. Despite their previous arguments, the human and Centauri leaders now stood as allies. The objects will reach our space in less than 14 days, Clark announced, pointing to the large screen behind him. It showed hundreds of ship-sized objects, moving in formation. They're coming from intergalactic space, from a region no map has ever recorded. Zexnol stepped forward. His blue skin glowed with nervous energy. The ancient facility that Captain Fuller and I discovered was built as a warning system. The data crystals contain information about these visitors. They are called the Void, heralds in the ancient records. Dr. Wright joined them, bringing up images from inside the ring structure. According to what we've translated so far, the Void heralds visit our galaxy every 50,000 years. They harvest resources and take them back to wherever they came from. Harvest resources? Asked a representative from the Orion colonies. You mean they're miners? No, Clark said grimly. They harvest planets. Entire worlds stripped down to their cores. The room fell silent as everyone processed this information. This wasn't just a border dispute anymore. This was a threat to all life in the galaxy. The ancient facility wasn't just for warning, Wright explained. It was also a defense system. But it needs both human and Centauri technology to work properly. This was surprising news. How could a 50,000-year-old station require technology from species that didn't exist when it was built? Wright explained. The station was designed to adapt to whatever species found it. It's been analyzing our ships, our methods, the Centauri's precise mapping abilities, and our adaptive scanning technology. Together, they can power the defense systems. Over the next few days, human and Centauri scientists worked together at the ancient facility. Captain Fuller's crew from the Pathfinder joined with Zexnol's team from the Eternal Registry. Despite years of distrust, they found they worked well together. Your people have an unusual way of looking at space, Zexnall told Dr. Wright as they studied the ancient controls. You see patterns where we see only precise points. And your people understand the relationships between star systems better than we do, Wright replied. We need both perspectives. Back on Earth, the United Earth Council made a historic decision. For the first time, they would officially recognize Centauri Mapping Authority, but with one important condition. We propose a compromise, Admiral Clark told Zexnall when he returned to Proxima Station. The Centauri Cartographic Authority will be recognized by Earth as the official map keeper of the galaxy, except for human space. Our borders, our territory, will be mapped and defined by us. Zexnall considered this offer. For a Centauri to admit that any part of the galaxy was beyond their mapping authority was unprecedented. But these were unprecedented times. Where will the boundary be? The High Cartographer asked. Clark pointed to the disputed border zone on the map. The original neutral zone will be restored, and you'll have mining rights to the Zeralium deposits discovered in the unclaimed systems shown on the ancient map. After consulting with the Centauri leadership, Zexnall agreed. The two civilizations would face the coming threat together, each respecting the other's territory and strengths. The Centauri Council made a change to their official star charts. For the first time in their 20,000-year history, they added a notation along the borders of human space. Here ends conventional mapping. Beyond lies human space, charted by methodologies honored by the Centauri Authority. As the void heralds approached, a combined fleet gathered at what was now called Boundary Point. Human ships with their advanced weapon systems lined up alongside Centauri vessels with their precise navigation abilities. Scientists from both species had managed to activate the ancient facility's defense protocols. They're entering the system, reported Commander Greg Simmons from his position on the front line. Counting over 200 ships, all bigger than anything we've built. The Void Herald ships were black, absorbing light rather than reflecting it. They moved with strange jerking motions as if they jumped through space rather than traveling smoothly. When the first communication came from the heralds, it was a simple demand. Submit for harvesting. Not today, Admiral Clark replied from the command ship. And not ever. The battle began. The Void Heralds deployed technology that distorted space itself, making it hard for ships to stay in formation. This was where the combined human-Centauri approach proved vital. The Centauri's precise mapping abilities helped them track positions even when space itself seemed to bend, while human adaptive systems quickly found ways to counter the Herald's attacks. The ancient facility fired a beam of energy that spread through the combined fleet, enhancing their shields and weapons. It was as if the long-dead builders had left this gift for whoever would face the harvesters next. Their ships are retreating, Simmons called out after hours of fighting. The front line is breaking up. It wasn't a complete victory. Many human and Centauri ships were damaged or destroyed, but they had pushed back the first wave of heralds. For the first time in thousands of years, the harvesters had been stopped. In the days that followed, more alien species joined the defense, bringing their own technologies and perspectives. The ancient facility became a command center, its powerful sensors focused outward, watching for more heralds that might be coming. 3 months after the battle, Admiral Clark and High Cartographer Zexnall met again at the facility, which had been named Unity Station. They stood before the Great Map Room, where both human and Centauri mapping systems had been integrated with the ancient technology. We've started a new joint project, Wright told them proudly. A hybrid mapping system that combines Centauri precision with human adaptability. The map that floated before them showed not just star positions and territories, but also the dark space between galaxies where more void heralds might be hiding. It was the most complete map ever created, the work of two very different species, learning from each other. Maps aren't just about claiming territory, Wright explained to a group of young human and Centauri students who had come to learn at the station. They're about understanding our place in the universe. On the main operations floor of Unity Station hung 2 maps side by side, one bearing the seal of the Centauri Cartographic Authority and one bearing the insignia of the United Earth Navy. Where one ended, the other began. Together, they formed a complete picture of known space, and beyond the edges of both maps lay the vast darkness between galaxies, still largely unknown, but no longer undefended. The galaxy has changed, Zexnol said as he and Clark looked out at the stars from the station's observation deck. For 20,000 years, we believed only Centauri could make true maps. Now we understand that different perspectives create a more complete picture. Clark nodded. And we humans have learned that we need the knowledge of older species like yours. Our independence doesn't mean we have to stand alone. As ships from dozens of alien worlds came and went from Unity Station, the old border disputes seemed small and unimportant. The galaxy had faced a threat that made no distinction between human or Centauri territory, and they had faced it together, proving that where one map ends, another begins, and together, they show the way forward.